Welcome to 15-Minute Theatre, the only review show that squeezes a whole production into 900 seconds. The date is Friday the 7th of August 2020, and we've just seen Brent Youth Theatre's online performance of I Am Not My Box Part 1. Open the house. How are you today, Vicky? Or should I say, Florence Knighted Cat?
Oh, yeah, I'm all right. I'm just looking after my kitten that's just been spayed and her brother keeps trying to attack her and it's all quite stressful. But other than that, I'm all right, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good indeed. Yeah.
Good news.
Nice to hear that some of the theatres are starting to open.
Yes. How are you feeling about it?
Back.
Well, thank God for that. I was a bit worried.
How would people have been to see it? Got to see it, you know.
I know. Can't stop the mousetrap.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully, maybe we'll be able to see some theatre before the year is out.
We can go see the mousetrap again.
Yeah.
Well, we know who did it now. In fact, I've forgotten who did it.
No.
I know who did it.
It changes every night.
Does it?
No. Anyway, should we get on with the question in hand?
Yeah, come on then.
Okay, so this was a performance, an online performance, I should say, from the Brent Youth Theatre. And it was a piece of devised theatre, film, devised by the young people of the Brent Youth Theatre and directed by Tazzy Karina, who also runs Brent Youth Theatre. And I might as well say it now, but if you are interested in finding out more about Brent Youth Theatre, the easiest thing to do is have a look on Facebook or type Brent Youth Theatre into your Google search engine.
The Google machine.
The Google machine. Yeah, we've got a friend who runs that, don't we? Who works the Google machine.
She doesn't run the Google machine, but she does all the searches.
You have to turn the crank.
Yeah,
they have a good time at Google, don't they?
They have a lovely time. They have all the good stuff going on there.
Anyway, let's not get distracted. So this is we've seen part 1 of 5 parts, and they are loosely connected because each part is all about the surrounding area, Brent. So I was really quite pleased actually when this came about because I was expecting a COVID production.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. So that was quite refreshing, really.
What, in that the subject matter would be COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no COVID.
By watching the film.
Well, you'd hope not.
That would be terrible. All right. Do you want to give us a little synopsis?
Yeah. So basically, it is... there are 2 areas of London, Wembley and Willesden, and they're talking about unifying them. And it's basically seen from the perspective of Wembley and the perspective of Willesden, and they're sort of discussing about how they're going to do it, and a lot of people aren't very happy about it and what they're going to call it. And it's Brent, it becomes Brent. So that's it, basically. And it's set in the past, mostly. But then it's interspersed with some bit of song, some poetry, there's all sorts of stuff going on. Yeah,
so what did you think?
Well, I mean, I don't feel we can judge this like we would a West End show.
No, because it's not a West End show.
It's not a West End show.
It's not a mousetrap.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but I think to what they've created with obviously limited resources, I think they've done pretty well.
Yeah, well, I mean, we went to see one of their productions, didn't we? A while back. I can't remember the name of it, but do you remember? We went to see it, and someone from EastEnders was in the audience.
Can't remember, but I have a memory like a goldfish. So
well, I remember, and I remember it being very good. And yeah, I think they've done a remarkable job in these strange and taxing times to keep the youth theatre going. And I think I really liked it. The fact it always, any devised kind of work always scores extra bonus points for me, because, you know, it's one thing using the script and, you know, learning lines and doing something that's tried and tested, but to make something yourself from scratch is always a challenge. And I thought what they managed to do was inject a lot of humour into it. And it was also a good showcase for the young people who are really quite talented.
Yeah, there were a few people that stood out. I thought it was a bit fragmented, but it was very adventurous. I feel like they'd really sort of aimed high with what they could do. And maybe not all of it was pulled off as maybe as if it was like a professional theatre company. Not all of it was up to those standards, obviously. But I thought what they did was really good.
Excuse me. Yeah. For me, two of the things that are vitally important for youth theatre.
Yeah.
Is that one, that the work they produce is to a certain level that it's engaging, and you know, it's achieved something. Hopefully, the young people have learned something as well along the way, whether that's, you know, theatrical skills or, you know, maybe something about the area, which both of this achieved. The other thing, which is really important, is that it's fun. You know, youth theatre is supposed to help to engage young people who may not have done theatre before, may not have a lot of experience in the field. And this certainly was a lot of fun. You could see that they were having fun making it. And some of the characterizations were great. Especially, there was someone playing someone from like the late 19th century or something.
Yeah.
She was brilliant, I thought.
Yeah, they'd really adventured. There was a few technical issues, I think, that were a bit of a shame. Like, some of it was a bit out of sync, but then I guess that's the way, you know, some of it was done over Zoom and not everyone is going to be in sync, and sometimes there's a bit of a pause between people speaking. But that, I think they sort of navigated that really well.
And this was probably new ground to them as well. You know, they probably hadn't had to get that technical that quickly before. No,
well, who has really? You know, there's not going to be many like theatres that are set up for doing that sort of work. Like, you know, like the National and the Old Vic that record stuff anyway. That, you know, they know how to do this stuff. But other people. So I'm just pulling my cat away. He was trying to lick her wound. Yeah, I think they did really well with the resources that they had, and yeah, they sort of took something that was of interest to them in their area, and then I'm really sorry. This cat, stay away from her. He's like, I'm really sorry.
This is Vicky's life these days.
Basically, she's like rolled over with her belly, and her like wound is showing, and he's very near it.
Vicky, this is a catastrophe.
I know, I'm sorry, it's a terrible timing.
All right, I'm going to pull you back. So also extra points because they used original music, and they, like you said, they made their own song, didn't they? Yeah,
there was a song, there was a poem. One of them was walking around the borough, talking about sorry, a cat get emergency again. I'm just going to sit by one of the cats now. Intervene. Yeah, I think they sort of, they used lots of different techniques. It was really ambitious.
Yeah, and also it was a good length. You know, if you're going to watch, we've watched quite a few plays online now, haven't we? And
yeah.
You obviously miss the immersive quality of sitting in the theatre next to people that you don't like, or, you know, with them taking their shoes off or talking throughout, or
putting their feet on my head.
Exactly. So it was about 15 to 20 minutes. So I think it's the right length of time, and then obviously, you know, you can watch a new part every week. Don't worry if you've missed them. I'm sure they're available on YouTube, or just contact the Brent Youth Theatre. Okay, so shall we take a break and score it?
Yes, okay.
Okie dokie. Right, well, usually I'd be asking what you've been doing with yourself, but that answer is painfully obvious.
Just on kitten watch at the moment.
Kitten watch.
Yeah, one more week of kitten watch, and then kitten watch will be over.
They're out into the wild, never to be seen.
You'll set them free.
All right, so let's make a start. Vicky, performances.
I think this is really difficult to score because I don't know what criteria to use, because I can't score it obviously anywhere near as high.
Well, I'm going to score it, with equivalence to like other youth theatres and stuff like that. I'm going to give them a 9 because I thought there was some really good characterisations there.
I'd give them a 7.
Yeah. Okay, staged and technical, it gets a 7 from me.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, there are a few issues with sort of things being out of sync and stuff, but I think they tried really hard, so I give it a 7 as well.
Good stuff. Narrative and plot.
Well, sometimes I found it a little difficult to follow, but I think that they sort of weaved quite a few bits together in quite an interesting way. So again, I'd go for a 7.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 6, only because it wasn't the most exciting that kind of issue, really. Originality gets an 8 for me.
Yeah, I'll go for an 8.
Lovely. Costume?
Well, there wasn't much in the way of costume, really. I'll go for a 6.
And it gets a 7 because I quite like the 19th century costumes that they were wearing, because they were quite sweet. And was it worth it?
I'm going to go for a 7.
Okay. And I'm just going to bump that up slightly. I'm going to give it an 8. Okie dokie. So while I add up all these all-important scores, would you be kind enough to tell the listener what we're going to be watching next?
I don't think you told me what this was called before. So we've actually been invited to see an online play by a lady, Danielle Gearing, has asked us to see a live Zoom play called White Noise, which is from the theatre company Powerhouse Theatre. So this is exciting. They're trying to be creative, and this is the first time they've done a Zoom play, and they're using money to raise using ticket sales to raise money for an LGBT and arts charity. So that's next week.
Brilliant. So that should be good.
Yeah.
I suppose we should say, if you'd like us to come and review your show, whether it's online or hopefully back in the theatres, we would love to do that. We don't really like going anywhere outside the M25.
Well, not at the moment. It's a bit. I don't really want to get on the old train at the moment.
No, well, I drive you everywhere, don't I, really?
Well, sometimes, yeah. You're very kind with your wheels. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, the scores are in. It gets a star rating of a 3.58, which puts it above One Man, Two Governors and just below Jesus Christ Superstar. But we have to say, we are like kind of judging this by professional and West End standards. So I think it's done incredibly well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's an entirely different thing, and we can't judge it exactly the same. It's got to be a bit different, hasn't it?
Yeah, but we wanted to score it. So
yeah, and I'm gonna give them 10 out of 10 for effort, because
absolutely.
I think they've really tried to make something that's interesting.
And it was interesting. It was a little fun. So do check it out if you can. Okay, Vicky, that was a theatre bell, and once again, which means we're out of time, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, that's a real shame. Sorry, I said yeah because I'm like looking at my kittens again. I apologise for the kitten. Next time there will be a lot less kitten action.
How long did it last for?
No, but she should have recovered from her operation by the next one, and I won't need to watch them quite so much. She's come to sit on my lap. No, she's got off my lap. Well, thanks for coming.
So the curtain's down, the theatre's dark, and that was 15-minute theatre. Good night.
Good night.